Stone Edge removes Cobalion from the field of play, and it's all down to Starmie to clean up. The opponent goes straight for a Sacred Sword that I'm forced to shield, because if I don't, I'm going to die to the Shadow Claw. Speaking of which, back out comes Runerigus. Starmie needs to overfarm, ensuring we not only remove this Runerigus, but also outpace Cobalion. The race is on. Starmie versus Cobalion. Starmie on fractional HP, reaches the serve, and that is going to be all she wrote. Welcome back to the channel. We're on day 2 of the Team Rocket takeover. Speaking of which, if you've got any Shadow Pokemon, don't forget to remove Frustration, as you have very limited time. I'm sure by now you've already seen numerous showcases of Giratina in the Open Great League. We don't have the Open Great League, and I personally am not a fan of practice battles. So what I've done is grinded all day. Shout out to my buddy Alpha. We've been out grinding. I've caught this Starmie, and you better believe we are putting it to work in some actual Go Battle League footage. You might be wondering, is Starmie a good investment? Well, I guess you're about to find out. This thing isn't cheap to power up. It is XL'd and cost me around 400,000 Stardust. That is not including the 21 goddamn charge TMs I had to invest to get the correct moveset. Right off the bat, Starmie is a complete glass cannon. It's got a very similar stat distribution to Charizard, aka Typhlosion, as them two Pokemon are clones of one another. Also similar to Shadow Golurk. So if you've used any of them Pokemon in the past, you'll know exactly what I'm dealing with. A very, very glassy boy. What makes a glass cannon usable in the Go Battle League? Simply put, you need access to a very cheap, very spammy move. Unfortunately, Starmie doesn't quite have that. Its cheapest charge move is 45 with Surf, and unfortunately 50 energy for its coverage move of Power Gem. This brings us on very nicely to the team building. Not only do I need to pair Starmie up with something to make a powerful core, I need to ensure that other two members of the team are very spammy and able to strip shields off the opponent. Once again, a shout out to Alpha Club suggesting Weezing, and that makes a lot of sense. Starmie, of course, doesn't want to see the bugs at Darks or Ghost. Galarian Weezing should handle all them threats, and that is why I've opted for Brutal Swing today. That ability to hit Ghost, incredibly spammy, only taking 8 turns. Today's save switch is going to be my favourite Pokemon in the entire game, my rank 1 Shadow Primeape, and you better believe that thing strips shields left, right and centre. This intro, as always, has gone on for far too long, so without any further ado, let's get into the battles. And in game 1, I lead Shadow Galarian Weezing into Swampert. Of course, we see a ground type, because why would you not? We're going to instantly pivot into Primeape. The opponent stays in. They're going to fire off a Hydro Cannon. I'm going to invest a Protect Shield and look to keep farming up energy. The opponent then pivots out into Giratina. Primeape with a huge energy lead, despite being a fighting type. That Ghost does double resist. That Rage Fist hits for super effective and comes with a 100% chance to raise our attack, meaning subsequent ones after the first will do more and more. Despite Rage Fist coming with a 100% chance to buff up our attack, the opponent shouldn't have shielded that second one, as it wouldn't have been lethal, and now they're pretty much obliged to shield the third, because this one would come very close to knocking out. The opponent does 2 shield, and they play to CMP. Of course, there's a charge attack priority that Primeape wins by an absolute mile. We might have lost lead, but we've now set up ourselves a 2 to no shield advantage. I send back out Galarian Weezing, and this is a fantastic opportunity to just farm up all the energy in the world. The opponent fire off the Shadow Sneak that doesn't do much of anything. Weezing gonna overfarm, fire off the Brutal Swing. Looking to move Giratina from the field of play. Brutal Swing does exactly that. Back out comes Swampert. We're going to fire off a Brutal Swing. Non-stab Brutal Swing in neutral situations doesn't do much of anything. We're then going to bank our energy and try our luck at catching the Hydro Cannon onto Starmie, where it is going to be resisted. My catch attempt was successful, and we've banked a boatload of energy on Weezing in case we need it for the endgame scenario. The opponent stay in. We are going to respect a potential sludge. The opponent fire off the sludge and send out Cobalion, but it's too little, too late. Starmie with a huge energy lead, despite not having access to the cheapest charge moves, going to be able to outpace to the back-to-back serves. One does around half the health, meaning the second one is going to knock Cobalion out. Cobalion made a very brief cameo appearance. Back out comes Swampert. Swampert unable to reach a charge move. We Psywave farm down and take that game. Heading into the next battle, we see Feraligatr in the lead position. Nice to catch it here. Well, it's nice to catch anything using a ghost type quick move far, far away from my very glassy Starmie. The opponent continuing to farm up energy, allowing Galarian Weezing to fire off the second charge move. They actually catch on Skeledirge, but the Brutal Swing is super effective. The opponent logically therefore I was going to fire off a Sludge, but I recognised they were kind of obliged to shield. We send out Starmie, fire off the Surf on the charge attack priority. And now I've got shield advantage. Trainer, force in the Shadow Ball. You can take my Starmie. Yes, I spent 400,000 Stardust on the bloody thing, but I want to win, and I think shield advantage should put me in a good position. Due to Galarian Weezing's lightning fast pacing, I can knock this thing out and only take one Incinerate that second. Will not register. Back out. Comes for Alligator, and for Alligator looks to fire off energy. Hydro Cannon doesn't get the job done. We see the Simul swap with Primeape into Cradilly, and we all know how this one's going to end. The only lose con is the opponent somehow landing a Grass Knot. The opponent like, I'm going to throw a Rock Tomb bait. But let me tell you something, trainer. No bait is ever saving your Cradilly's fate. We full send the first close combat, forcing the opponent's final Protect Shield. One further Karate Chop, the second close combat on the charge attack priority, even at -1. Massive overkill. Get that Cradilly off my screen. Back out comes Gator. Primeape going to invest the Protect Shield, fire off one further close combat. That is going to be all she wrote. GG's, and thanks for playing. Listen here, Primeape, you need to chill out, buddy. This is going to be a Starmie showcase, although I didn't really help myself there as I completely sacrificed it in the mid-game matchup. Heading into the next battle, we see the Galarian Weezing mirror. My Galarian Weezing has very, very scuffed IV, so I'm always confident that I'm going to win charge attack priority. It's like a 13, 15, 14. Both me and my opponent farm up, looking to fake a potential overheat. I personally don't have overheat, but you've always got to fake it till you make it. The opponent then plays a charge attack priority once again, and Sludge leaves him on fractional HP. We tank the next Sludge. We then see the Simul swap with Primeape into Primeape. What is going on here? If the opponent's got Starmie in the back, that would be absolutely absurd. As I run the rank 1 Primeape, I'm kind of obliged to go Rage Fist into the mirror if we're on even energy. So if I look to farm up to the close combat, lose CMP, and the opponent actually full send, my Primeape would do absolutely nothing. As I was saying, I do lose CMP. However, Primeape has got good value, leaving the opposing Primeape in perfect sideway farm down range. Starmie now as an energy lead. Out comes Moltres, and I'm going to do the classic Jamie Finn special, die with 2 shields. We get Sucker Punch farmed all the way down, and I'm going to concede the match. GG's to that opponent. Despite getting my ass kicked in that battle, at least I did attempt to make Starmie have the best opportunity to sweep the endgame. I saved it both shields, even give it an energy lead, but sometimes you're just going to lose to RPS. In the next battle again, we see Gator in the lead position. This time the opponent goes straight for the Hydro Cannon. We land the Sludge, make the pivot into Primeape, and out comes Skeledirge. Primeape going to fire off the first Rage Fist. The opponent was quite slow on the switch, meaning we're going to outpace the second Rage Fist, and even knock out or force a Protect Shield here in the mid-game matchup. I think if I wasn't prioritising Starmie in today's video, I could very easily shield this off, get off the next Rage Fist, and look to force the opponent all shields down. But as it's a Starmie showcase, instead, I'm going to send out Starmie, just go for the 1 shield, full sideway farm down, and hope Starmie can cook whatever's in the back. We are going to shield up the boosted Torch Song, as we've even seen a resisted Hydro Cannon did quite a lot of HP. We're trying to save all the health we can. Back out comes for Alligator. I'm going to waste no time, fire off the Surf. Surf removes Gator from the field of play, and out comes Cobalion. We farm up to the double Surf, attempt to catch the Stone Edge. Our catch attempt is unsuccessful, but the opponent fire off the Sacred Sword, and all we need to do is ensure they're on Surf range. Even the opponent leave this matchup doubled up. We're going to be doubled up as well. It's 1 shield to 1 shield, so logically we cannot lose, as long as we don't get 1 turn bringing. Thankfully the game doesn't screw me. You know the drill. The first Surf will be forcing the opponent's final Protect Shield. Once they return fire with their own move, the second one will be removing them from the field of play, and Starmie is the best Pokemon in the world. I'm kidding, but to be honest, it actually did alright. Heading into the next battle. Oh, hello, that is the absolute dream lead. A kind of awkward save switch. I'm kind of obliged to stay in this matchup. However, we've got a very, very hard check in Guzzlord, not only in the lead, but also in the back. I'm going to play the fun little game. When the opponent shields, I'll shield and try and maintain alignment. As they're on Shadow Claw, potentially they can cheese their way through this matchup. You can see my health is rapidly declining. They shielded, I'm going to shield, and now I'm fairly confident they're in Brutal Swing range. You can see they're already in the red health range. We're going to fire off the Brutal Swing just before the next Aqua Jet's reach. Brutal Swing goes unshielded. We do leave low, which actually works out alright, leaving minimal farm for the Skeledirge. Weezing even going to reach the departing Brutal Swing, and Brutal Swing forces the final Protect Shield of the game. As soon as the opponent burnt that final Protect Shield, this game should be pretty much wrapped up. I am going to respect a potential Shadow Ball. The opponent full sends it, then go for the Surf catch onto Guzzlord. Catch attempt unsuccessful. All Guzzlord catches is the hands of Primeape. Primeape wastes no time, fires off the close combat. Picks up the one-hit KO. Primeape gonna fire off the Rage Fist. Rage Fist certainly puts them into surf range. Skeledirge gonna farm down, leaving with a charge move. But once again, this is a charge attack priority. Starmie wins by a mile, and we take that game. I'll be honest, that was the first set I played, and I thought 4-1. I will definitely take that. However, does the success continue? Heading into the next battle, we are off to a good start, but we find a very, very problematic save switch. In theory, Weezing plus Starmie does make a good call, as Starmie does alright into Psychic type, with one exception, that is Malamar, as Malamar is the Psychic type that beats the other Psychic type due to its sub-Dark typing. My Sideways would be triple resisted, and of course, with access to Foul Play, that would also hit me for super effective. I really need to maintain alignment, as I can't have Primeape anywhere near that Clefable. The opponent's shielded, I shield, the opponent gets knocked out with the Brutal Swing, back out comes Clefable, I commit to the Sludge and unfortunately don't get there. We'll now give this Clefable a huge energy lead. How we should tank a Moonblast, right? Oh crap. That honestly did far more than I wanted it to do. Starmie, you're so bloody glassy. The opponent pivots into Drapion. We tank the Aqua Tail, farm up, throw the Close Combat on the charge attack priority. Close Combat goes unshielded, back out comes Clefable. Clefable going to be greeted with the Close Combat. This will minimise the farm. My win con is going to be the opponent running Twin Nukes, but they throw on 5. 5 isn't enough for a Meteor Mash, meaning they've got Swift. We look for the Sidewave farm down, unfortunately unable to get it. The opponent able to reach the Swift, and they are going to emerge victorious. GG's to that opponent. In the next battle, we see Annihilate in the lead position. The opponent says no thank you, save switch into Typhlosion. Again, I'm more than happy to stay in here. I'm just going to try and align Starmie into a favourable matchup. So as long as I can remove this Typhlosion from the field of play, Starmie should be positive into Annihilate. The opponent farms the Blast Burn bait with the Thunder Punch. Weezing not falling for any of that shenanigans, calls the bait, fires off the Brutal Swing, removing Typhlosion from the field of play. We leave insanely low, which is best case scenario, not giving Annihilate much farm whatsoever. This is actually the regular variant of Annihilate, so I was thinking a non-boosted, non-Shadow Rage Fist should never, ever put me in counter farm down range. But again, look how much damage that does. Holy crap. I'm going to fire off this Surf, and I'm kind of forced to pivot. Surf, force the protection, we pivot into Primeape, and out comes Venusaur. You might be wondering, why did I not farm up to the Ice Punch? Well, firstly, a non-boosted Ice Punch wouldn't be lethal, so I'm just going to spam that Rage Fist and get my Karate Chops to do more damage. Now a boosted Ice Punch will threaten a knockout, so I'm going to farm to it and look to force the final protection of the game. Primeape fires off the Rage Fist goes unshielded, leaving Venusaur insanely low. Oh, they just about reach a Frenzy Plant, and they suddenly got complicated. Annihilate one off that next Rage Fist, we're able to farm up, make the catch, back onto Starmie. However, can we survive the boosted counters and reach the double up? Primeape re-enters the arena, able to reach that double up. With plenty of HP to spare, the opponent recognises that counter doesn't knock out, tank the damage, and we take that game. Heading into the next battle. Oof, that is a yikes lead if I ever did see one. This thing's actually very problematic for the entirety of my team. We save switch into Primeape, and out comes Galarian Weezing, and it's all going wrong. Shadow Primeape is an absolute monster in the Ultra League, able to cheese its way through so many matchups, straight Rage Fist, but unfortunately this matchup isn't one of them. My opponent does a very nice job of over farming just before the next Rage Fist is reached. Sludge removes me from the field of play, as they didn't Brutal Swing there. Potentially they've got Overheat. If you've got Overheat, trainer, you enjoy yourself. The opponent just fire off the Sludge. I think here I could get away with a Brutal Swing. The reason I don't Brutal Swing is I want to keep it as a prize, potentially for that Guzzlord. We pivot into Starmie, that's a Moltres in the back, and that is the quickest top left I've ever done. In the next battle, what the hell is this? I say switch into Primeape, baiting out Typhlosion. I don't often bait, and this is why the opponent call the bait, but they don't throw. So I guess it's not too bad, as I'm going to force a Protect Shield here in that mid-game matchup. Rage Fist forces the Protect Shield, and unfortunately we don't get DRE. I'm almost certain that one Sidewave will knock him out, so I could potentially just send out Starmie. And I really wish I did. Blast Burn picks up the knockout. We send out Starmie, but the issue I've got here is this Mamoswines are almost full health, and you're going to see the opponent goes for a really smart play of not throwing. We do manage to fully sideway farm down. But out comes Big Man Blastoise, and for the second time, in around 15 minutes, Jamie Finn, like an absolute potato, is going to save 2 shields for next season. You can see Power Gem doesn't do too much damage. We're going to get fully rollout farm down, and that one does end in defeat. If I didn't play a game that I think 99.9% of the time is absolutely trash, I would have sniped with a Psywave, but we've seen time and time again one turn bring in. I say 2 shields for Starmie, but in reality I should have went for the play I know would have given me the best chance of winning the battle. In the next battle, once again it looks like we're getting RPS'd after going 4-1 in the first set. What the heck is this second set? I see so many comments, not only on my channel, but on a lot of channels, with people saying content creators only show their wins. These are just the battles as I played them, and you can see this is one hell of a rough set. Holy smokes. Of course, Gastron, unlike Golurk, isn't going to respect shit from Galarian Weezing, hence I throw the Brutal Swing here, recognising that it's Brutal Swing range. Opponent actually invests the Protect Shield, setting Starmie up with a 2-to-1 shield advantage. Let's go Starmie. Let's go Starmie. Algorithm anyone? Of course, I am kidding, but fucking hell, this set was an absolute joke. I've got RPS'd in 4 out of the 5 battles. I see a lot of people get super frustrated with the game. It is what it is, just laugh it off. How would I ever win this battle? Let's be honest, I'm just not winning it, am I? We are going to try and make something happen. I'm going to fire off the Surf. A Surf is 5 energy cheaper. Surf forced to Protect Shield. We're able to snipe with Weezing, but in reality, it's too little too late. Brutal Swing does remove them from the field of play. The opponent get minimal farm. Starmie might hit hard, but there is no chance the Surf knocks out there. We don't even reach it anyway. In the next battle, things are looking up, but again, we find a problematic save switch. As the regular variant of Typhlosion, I'm confident I survived one Thunder Punch. Oh my gosh. We just about survived. I'm going to play for shield advantage here, as Primeape up Protect Shield is going to be decent into Virizion too. We're even able to force the energy as the opponent, not wanting to risk us, reach another serve, and this is like best case scenario. Much like you see me do previously against the Incinerate use, I can send out Weezing, throw 4 Fairy Winds and the Sludge, meaning that second Incinerate won't register. Sludge removes Typhlosion from the field of play and out comes Skeledirge. We're going to fire off 7 Fairy Winds and the Brutal Swing, maintaining disciplined fast move timing. That's 14 turns into 15, only giving them 1 free turn. Again, we 2 and throw the next Brutal Swing. Brutal Swing forces the opponent's final Protect Shield, and this game is simply over. I think the safest path forward is just double shield Weezing here. I'm not going to play to CMP. Whilst Weezing does win this charge attack priority, I was worried the opponent would catch a Brutal Swing onto Virizion. They dump all their energy, send out Virizion. We fire off the Sludge. Sludge just does too much damage. We send out Primeape, and Primeape is going to close the show. Whilst Primeape has even less bulk than Starmie, we can survive any one move. We fire off 1 Karate Chop and the Rage Fist. Rage Fist knocks him out, back out comes Skeledirge. We're going to throw 4 full good timing. Just so the next Incinerate will not register, fire off that Rage Fist and take that game. In the next battle, we found ourselves another terrifying Pokemon. This is definitely where the team wants to see it. However, the issue is the opponent is going to pace at the same speed as us, and they do win charge attack priority. As soon as I threw that Sludge, I instantly recognised I made a mistake. I was thinking the regular variant of Zapdos probably could tank 2 Brutal Swings. Look at how much that Sludge did. I think they definitely don't. So I think if you was to play this matchup out, you could go straight Brutal Swing and win the 0 shield scenario. However, as we played it, it didn't work out too bad, as I can send out Starmie, Psyway farm down before they reach another Drill Peck. The opponent not wishing to concede a farm down, send out Primeape. We tank the first Rage Fist. Again, that does far too much damage over farm as much as we physically can. Fire off the Surf, removing them from the field of play. Opponent sends out Virizion. We pivot into Primeape in the 2 shield scenario. I think I should straight close combat. However, I didn't want to debuff myself when I'm switch locked, but the opponent knows that and they call the Rage Fist, so I instantly regret it, and I've now made this game very, very complicated. Are we going to see a 101 by Jamie Finn on how to throw a battle? The logic, of course, is I don't want to debuff myself. I mean, I'd take yet more fast move pressure, but neither Double Kick or Thundershot apply much fast move pressure, so we wouldn't really be in danger of getting farmed down. So I think I've gifted the opponent a potential win con by not full sending. However, able to snipe with Starmie. The opponent doesn't make the catch. Surf removes Virizion from the field of play. Zapdos able to Thundershock farm down Primeape. The Primeape able to Karate Chop farm down Zapdos. We didn't play that particularly clean. We just about escaped with a dub. GG's that opponent. Zapdos, you love to see it. GBL is just a crazy place. So in set 2, we got completely hard count, and in set 3, we seem to have the perfect alignment. The opponent sends out Nidoqueen, which is a cool pick, especially this season. It's been buffed with Poison Sting. I haven't really seen too many people use it, but I do think Nidoqueen needs to get some love. I might actually try it myself. Now it's got access to Poison Sting. It's like the good old days when Nidoqueen can cheese its way through type disadvantage matchups in the 2-shield, just spamming out these Poison Fangs. I'm actually happy to concede switch advantage. As I said, Guzzlord has nowhere to run and nowhere to hide against my 2 remaining Pokemon. We send out Weezing, fire off that Brutal Swing for the opponent potentially debuff me with a Poison Fang. Their final Pokemon is Virizion. The opponent doesn't even farm up, looking to bait a Stone Edge. And that is going to be the final nail in this opponent's coffin. They see just how little damage that does, recognise they cannot get through Weezing, and they are going to concede the match. As I said previously, I'm not someone that messes around with the order of my battles. You see the battles as I play them in the exact order. The reason for that is, especially when I run new Pokemon, you'll see me figure Pokemon out and I'll talk through mistakes I made. However, the point I'm trying to make is, how crazy is it that 3 out of 4 battles we saw a Mud Slapper, then 3 out of 4 battles, the very next set we see Guzzlord. Much like you see me do previously, when I see Guzzlord in the lead, I honestly don't give a shit about switch advantage, because we are ABA strong into it. What I'd much prefer is shield advantage. The opponent fire off the Sludge. We're going to farm up, return fire with our Sludge, and have a whole heap of residual energy good to go for whatever that third is. There is 0 chance that Guzzlord ever enters the arena. The opponent sends out Feraligatr. Feraligatr going to be greeted with the Sludge. Sludge goes unshielded. We fire off the Brutal Swing. This can go shielded. They can tank it, whatever they do. 2-shield Primeape is going to carry us home. Usually when you switch, immediately after firing off a charge move, you get a 0-turn swap. I actually got a 1-turn swap there, hence I got denied. However, it doesn't matter. It's going to have 0 influence on the outcome of this battle. The opponent tries to catch a Rage Fist onto Guzzlord. Close combat, picks up the 1-hit KO. We're doubled up. Primeape going to claim back-to-back victims, and we are going to emerge victorious. GG's that opponent. In the next battle, we see another Galarian Weezing mirror. As always, I'm confident my Scuffed IVs, 13, 15, 14, will be winning charge attack priority. The opponent doesn't even look to bait a potential overheat. I'm always going to fake it till I make it. I'm going to fire these off back to back, anticipating winning charge attack priority. Again, my 13, 15, 14 comes in clutch, winning charge attack priority, leaving the opposing Weezing on fractional HP. I'm actually going to shield here. Why did I shield? I'm just going to try and get Starmie into a positive matchup. And I'm glad I did, as Starmie, of course, wants no part of this Sandslash. We farm up, looking to bait a potential overheat, and we see a Stone Cold no shield. Huge cojones for my opponent. We fire off yet another Brutal Swing. The opponent is going to have to throw or reach one further, and we finally get the opponent to dump some of their energy. Despite being down a Protect Shield, Weezing has removed 1.5 Pokemon with the correct alignment. We're hitting the double super effective here, and I'm going to hope that Starmie has a favourable matchup into their third. But it's a double Shadow Claw team. Come on, guys. I'm just trying to run Starmie. Give me a bloody break. On a more serious note, despite Starmie having nowhere to run and nowhere to hide into this team, we're able to successfully catch the resisted Aqua Jet onto Starmie. Sire Wave is a very good move. It's essentially a 1-turn Shadow Claw that we're getting same type attack bonus on. I'm going to try and shield. Look for the Sire Wave farm down. We don't get it. And that is going to be a top left. Starmie couldn't get us over the line. Heading into the next battle, we see Cobalion in the lead position. If we had overheat, this would be a great matchup. We're actually fully walled here, so we're going to let the opponent dump some energy and then make the pivot into Primeape and see what the opponent wants to do. They fire off the Stone Edge. We see the simultaneous swap with Primeape into Giratina. Of course, this isn't a great matchup for a fighter, but it's very nice to bait this Giratina out so Starmie doesn't have to see it. Let's see if his opponent's smart on the first one we played. This second Rage Fist should always go unshielded, as it isn't going to be lethal. However, the opponent does make the same mistake my opponent did, playing to CMP, but this opponent recognises that it's not going to be lethal. But that kind of works for me. I can now send out Starmie and get a very nice Sire Wave farm down. We've now got energy on Weezing, energy on Starmie. What could go wrong? How many Shadow Claw users have we seen? I'm going to fire off this Surf. Surf should be forcing the first protection. Does exactly that. We then go for the wham, bam, combo play. Look to fire this energy where at least it will hit for super effective as opposed to resisted or double resisted into Galarian. We're going to shield at the Rock Tomb. The opponent then pivots into Galarian. Once again, we farm up looking to fake a potential overheat. And then I've just quickly realised the opponent doesn't even have any shield, so why am I even baiting? Whilst I'm well aware that Sludge is double resisted, it's objectively a better move. So I thought Sludge might do more in this matchup. It does not. Sludge 0.47 DP as opposed to Brutal Swing's 0.53. It's all down to Starmie to clean up. The opponent go straight for a Sacred Sword. I'm obliged to shield. We're going to need to manage our energy perfectly. I over farm as much as I physically can. Fire off the Surf. We need to not only remove this Runerigus, but also outpace Galarian. Starmie versus Galarian. Starmie able to win the race, and we are going to be able to take an incredibly close game. Let's go, Starmie. Finally putting in work. In the next battle, we see Regidrago in the lead position. The opponent save switch into Cradilly, and here comes Primeape. Smells like a Rock Tomb trainer. Smells like a Rock Tomb. Primeape tanks the damage. Let's go. Unlike my opponent, I am full sending, recognising I can force both Protect Shields. Here in the mid-game matchup, the opponent look to call the bait. They get rocked. One shot through the Protect Shield, and Primeape maintains alignment and doesn't even invest a Protect Shield. Back out comes Regidrago. I'm going to fire off this close combat instantly and look to minimise the farm. I'm really surprised. Why would you shield that? Okay, it makes sense. Steelix a big problem for us. Despite me being a water type and then being a ground type, this isn't a good matchup. They're running Thunderfang that hits for super effective. I'm running Sideways that is hitting for resisted. To make matters worse, they've of course got access to Psychic Fangs that lowers my defense, meaning these Thunderfangs are doing more and more. As at this moment I've realised, oh crap, I can see their wink on. They're going to send back out Regidrago and try and debuff my Weezing into oblivion, meaning I can never ever knock out that Steelix. So we save Starmie as a way of resetting any potential break and swipe debuffs. The opponent fire off the first. Thankfully we don't get the attack drop. The opponent is going to reach one more. Come on, please don't debuff me, please. They get the attack for. In fairness, it is 50-50. They got one, so that is pretty fair. Can we still win this battle? I'm hoping my switch timer pops up. You can see where I'm tapping. I'm trying to pivot out. Switch timer isn't up. I'm forced to dump one further Brutal Swing. Finally, timer is up. We reset that debuff, and it's going to be a race. Who can reach 2 charge moves first? Weezing fires off the Brutal Swing. Brutal Swing isn't quite lethal, even though we reset that debuff. The opponent isn't quite doubled up. I believe we're 2 off. Are they 2 off or 3 off? Looks like 3. We're able to outpace to that Brutal Swing and just about escape with a dub. Steelix in the back. Holy cow, man. That was a huge problem. Heading into the next battle, we see Drifblim in the lead position. Shadow Weezing is so commanding in this matchup. You can throw 7 Fairy Winds and the Brutal Swing. The opponent very quickly realises if they don't instantly Icy Wind, the second one is going to come very close to knocking out. The opponent go straight for said Icy Wind, which is an easy tank for me. The opponent then pivots into Steelix. We send out Primeape. Looks like the opponent lagged there, but often when they lag, they eventually catch up. I'll be honest, I have no idea whatsoever where this energy is. We farm up to the double CC. The opponent shields the first, which means they're probably likely to shield the next. I try and farm up to 2 further close combat. Recognise I'm not going to get there, so we're going to fire off back-to-back Rage Fist. 1 to force a Protect Shield and 1 to do some meaningful damage. The opponent is going to exit with a charge move, or at least I think so after that lag. I'll be honest, I've got no idea where their energy's at. I send out Starmie and hope the opponent just instant throw a Psychic Fangs, and they do exactly that. I was tempted to snipe with a Brutal Swing, but instead I'm just going to shield once and look to get ahead in energy. The opponent fire off 1 further Psychic Fangs, then pivot into Dragalge. As I'm 2-stage debuffed, I'm going to pivot into Weezing and look to reset that debuff. I'm going to go straight Brutal Swing here. Brutal Swings that don't do too much, but the Fairy Wind plus Brutal Swing spam is real, and the opponent is going to be forced to dump energy. The opponent going to fire off the Aqua Tail. Aqua Tail will remove me from the field of play, but the remaining HP is a perfect opportunity for me to just one shield and fully farm down. Whilst this is only an Aqua Tail, this is probably the only charge move they're going to reach. The opponent sends back out Steelix. Steelix going to be straight in and straight out. Starmie very close to the next surf. If the opponent sends out Dragalge, I just farm down. If they send out the balloon, which they do, Starmie gonna claim back-to-back victims. Starmie removes the balloon from the field of play. We sideway farm down Dragalge, and that is a full Starmie sweep. Not sure I can get away with that, but we're going to roll with it. In the next battle, we see Galarian Moltres in the lead position. The opponent safe switch into Warren. I tried to catch an Icicle Sphere. My catch attempt was unsuccessful. The opponent full send the Earthquake. Earthquake does quite a lot of damage, but nowhere near as much as this Power Gem will do if it sneaks through the Protect Shield. Power Gem picks up the knockout. As it maintained alignment, this actually works out nice for me. Despite my failed catch, even though they've reverse farmed me down, we're still ahead in energy. I send back out Weezing. I'm going to throw as the opponent receives the energy for the fly and fire off a Sludge. Sludge, force of Protect Shield, the opponent farming up, looking to fake a potential Brave Bird, but that does allow me to fire off one further Sludge, which does some very decent damage. The opponent continuing to stay in, so that clearly means whatever's in the back is not going to be a fan of Weezing. Weezing going to fire off the next Sludge and look to remove Moltres from the field of play. The opponent invests a final Protect Shield, then attempt to make a catch onto Giratina. I see it coming in, fire off the correct charge move, the super effective Brutal Swing, not that really looks super effective, and here my opponent makes a massive mistake. They throw on 5, that can only be a Dragon Claw, that is double resisted. We bank the Sludge, then make the pivot into Primeape. My opponent doesn't farm up, faking a potential Shadow Force, so Dragon Claw very easily survivable. We're going to farm up to the double Rage Fist, hoping this Rage Fist knocks them out. Unfortunately, it does not. They survive on minimal HP and Weezing can carry us home. However, rank 1 Primeape has other ideas, able to withstand the damage. The opponent send out Moltres. Moltres going to die to the boosted Rage Fist. The opponent is going to be able to Shadow Claw farm me down, but we've got that Sludge and Brutal Swing banked. We throw the bad manners Sludge. Is it necessary? Probably not, but we're able to take that game. Heading into the next battle, we see for Alligator, the Angry Alligator. To be an Angry Alligator, you of course have to be the Shadow. It is so dope we can now get this as a shiny. I'd love to get a shiny for Alligator. I'm going to be grinding that hard. Here my opponent farm up, hoping a Hydro Cannon will knock out. Have a hold strong. IVs matter. Oof, that was risky. We fire off the Brutal Swing. We're able to win the Zero Shield scenario. We then make the pivot into Primeape. And out comes Kommo-o. As the opponent's farming up a boatload of energy, this is the easiest Rage Fist bait. I don't bait often, but sometimes you've got to. The opponent shielded the first and now find himself in a very problematic spot. They double shield the Rage Fist, look for the Dragon Tail farm down. They actually make a catch onto the mirror. This 2-stage boosted Rage Fist almost knocks out Primeape. Starmie going to be able to come in, take the glory stint, sideway farming down Primeape before they even reach a charge move. Kommo-o doesn't want the smoke and the opponent concedes the match. And that is just about going to wrap things up for today's Shoutcast. So is Starmie worth the investment? Whilst I was able to go positive, it's probably because I've been running all sorts of nonsense and my elo is currently in shambles. Don't get me wrong, by no means do I think this thing's terrible. Situationally, it is very good, and my gosh does it hit hard. I think it's like one move update away from being meta relevant. Give it something that is 40 energy or 35 ideally, and I think we'll see this rise up in popularity. But the combination of a 45 and 50 energy charge move make it very difficult to run. However, on the flip side, both Primeape and Galarian Weezing are still currently available in grunts. Weezing is available on the Poison Grunt. In the second slot, you get a 10% chance of catching it. Both are obtainable and both are absolute top meta threats. Two of my favourite Pokemon in the Ultra League. So if you're enjoying the content, smash that like button. If you're new, consider subscribing. If you like your battles featured on my channel, a link to my battle submission form is down below. And as always, a huge thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.